Hi, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Liv.
And this is the Mach-E vlog / EV Explored. We just got back from CES last week, so we thought we would do a big overview of all the cool EVs that we saw, EV related tech, and then some other fun things.
So let's go. There was an insane amount of stuff to cover, and we covered everything that we could. We actually have about 15 videos, I think, of dedicated videos of all the cool stuff that we found. So we're gonna go through the list of the cool EV related stuff and know that there will be videos, dedicated videos on all those things. But there's also a lot of other stuff, EV adjacent, other things that we wanna share with you that was at CES. It doesn't necessarily go in its own video, so it's gonna go here. So if you're really interested in EV stuff, that's coming first. We're gonna have chapters, and there's gonna be lots and lots of things that we wanna share. So let's just roll into it. First things first, Honda Zero Series. So we were there last year when Honda unveiled their Zero Series. They had the Saloon and the Space Hub. This year they unveiled the Saloon again, but like production intent pretty much, hopefully, and their SUV, which is like literally coming out at the beginning of 2026, and the Saloon's coming out at the end of 2026. Which is crazy. That's crazy soon. We got to get inside both of them. We already have a dedicated video out, and we'll link it up there, and we'll try link things down below. But that was super awesome to actually get in them.
Yeah, and we were both really impressed specifically with the SUV because it looks like it's very ready for production. It just looked like it was finished. The Saloon still just looks weird and odd. And it's a lot of people don't believe it's going to make it in that form factor to production, but Honda seems intent on getting that exact form factor with some modifications out to people. So I'm really excited. The specs are still a little bit up in the air. We're targeting around 300 miles of range, and people are, assuming well, if it doesn't have 300, then it's no good. And if it doesn't have this charging, then it's no good. We don't know any...
And that was for the SUV, they said that, I think.
Well, yeah. They were just saying, in general, their Honda Zero Series line. So I'm just excited that Honda is going down this route. Of course, right before CES, Honda announced they were going to explore merging with Nissan. So there could be some stuff on that. But we're going to try to move quickly through all of these because we have a lot of stuff. We just want to recap. And especially the ones that we have a full video on. We'll just link you to the full video if you want more details.
So right from the Honda Zero Series, we're going to roll right over to the Afeela. So that's the Sony Honda mobility partnership. And a lot of people are sort of confused, at least in our comments, as to why there's Honda Zero Series and then there's a Sony Honda mobility. They seem like completely different things. Like the Honda Zero Series is Honda's baby. The Sony Honda mobility seems like a Sony PlayStation sort of on wheels.
Like Sony heard Apple was making a car, so Sony's like, well, we got to make a car, but we don't want to handle the car parts. So we're going to let Honda handle the car parts, and we're going to put a PlayStation 5 on top of it. It seemed like, I thought there was a lot of potential when we saw it 2 years ago, and then last year of there could be potential because Sony makes quality stuff, quality TVs, the PlayStation, but...
It's very expensive. Like Patrick said, we saw it last year. We actually did a tour of it last year. There was a product specialist, an actor who was a very good presenter who presented the Afeela to us last year, where we got inside, we touched it, played around. This year, we were like, awesome, let's go see the Afeela. It's coming out officially 108,000 as spec, 89,000.
Well, starting at 90,000. The first one's going to be just over 100,000.
Yeah.
Because it's like the first edition. And they just started taking reservations on it. And we scheduled time so that we could do a full dedicated video, but I think we've scrapped that because it's
I don't know. You have to let us know. We might do it, but we were excited, so we booked time with them. We're like, let's go back. Let's go see what's changed. It didn't feel like anything had changed. We still had a product specialist who felt like more of a presenter who was like, here, let me present this car to you. And we're like, what, tell us the car stuff, but instead it was more of the PlayStation-y stuff. So,
and half of it was not functional because it was like they couldn't get the audio working. Things happen in demos, especially in prototypes, but it was very disappointing, and probably the most disappointing product that we saw that was hyped, you know, because we saw some things that are like, whatever. But this, like, it's been hyped for so long, and then they're like, we're getting close and we're taking reservations, and then there wasn't much substance and it was buggy.
Now, granted, you know, it might be completely different on the road. It might be completely different living with the vehicle, but it's the way that Sony's pitching it, or Sony Honda Mobility, which is like, here, let's show you all the consumption stuff, like the video, the gaming stuff, and like that's the stuff that's buggy. So it's like a really glaring issue. But we might be more interested in like what's it like to drive and live with.
Well, and then they also talked about it's the you know, some of the range and charging stats. So the charging is going to be peak at 150 kilowatts, which is 2019. You know, the Mach-E came out in 2019 or was announced in 2019. So, yeah.
Which we might be okay with, but for the price, I don't know if we would be. I don't know if you would be. You'll have to let us know. So should we do a video on the Honda,
and the time frame,
the Sony Honda Mobility Afeela? Yeah, and the time frame.
Because if Ford said we're going to update the Mach-E next year with a major update and you're going to have 150 kilowatt charging, I think there would be a revolt, you know?
Yeah, there probably would be, yeah.
Next up, though, one that is exciting that we were really happy to go take a look at, and we already have a video out on this as well, is the rebirth of Scout and being made into an EV company that's owned by VW that just signed an agreement with Rivian to do some of their software work. So like we actually have I think a really cool video. We talked with one of their basically head of strategy, the second Scout employee, but we also got in
with the UI UX designer, which was so cool, and someone else who was like 6'2", I think. So I had like a tall person experience in the background and got to jump in and actually feel it. I grabbed the grab handle because I was so excited to see it, and it's not ready to be abused yet, but it was really cool to see and like rugged.
That type of thing is sort of expected when it is a prototype.
Totally. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you give them some slack, first time, you know, out basically in public, but they look really great in person. Liv noticed a lot of the details and like the rugged looking buttons and attention to detail. Hopefully that all translates, and hopefully it all is affordable. But check out that video. It's like super cool to see them. They actually look really good in person. They look big, not as big as and imposing as I thought they might be, but they are big vehicles. And they also, if you don't know, they're not a hybrid, but they have a full EV system with basically a generator that you can use to a generator range extender, which for some people is controversial, and other people are like, oh my gosh, this is like the best thing ever. And from what I understand, a lot of people putting in reservations are opting for that range extender so that they can go really off grid. And they also announced a deal with Starlink right before CES, so they're going to have like the ability to really go off grid and because of the range extender and with the connectivity. So very cool.
Yeah, I was super excited to see Scout in person. When they announced originally, I was bummed because they're big. And I've been waiting for the smaller trucks and smaller SUVs. So like the R3X that everyone's dreaming of. I also didn't entirely see the distinction between Rivian and Scout until we met with them in person, until we felt the vibe, until we saw the vibe of the vehicles. There's a big difference. And it's really, really cool. I hope you all get a chance to see them in person because they are different, but also beautifully made, amazing materials, just really wonderful construction, very intentional and lovely. And I think that's really cool. And I can't wait to see where they go.
And it's interesting because like seeing it in person, I could feel the difference. But I posted a picture on my own private Facebook while we were there of the Scout, and somebody said, "Is that the new Rivian?" So,
yeah.
So, anyways, we're going to take a slight detour from CES for this next one because we had to go pick up somebody from the airport, Jordan from out of spec, and we had like an hour and a half to kill. So we stopped by the headquarters of Shelby American that's in Las Vegas and ended up making a connection. We went back and filmed, and although like a lot of the Shelby stuff is not EV, we got to film with the prototype Shelby Mustang Mach-E that they played around with, and they're still playing around with. They wouldn't answer any questions about why they're still playing around with it. But anyways, we got an overview of that. That video is going to be exciting.
Very, very curious about what they're doing.
And we did go into the Super Snake and the F-150 Shelby. So it's sort of like we did do some gas stuff, but you can ignore that. The video is going to be awesome. I was so thrilled. We spent time with the president and vice president as well.
That's what I was going to say. Gary and Vince took the time to hang with us and do this whole interview and tour.
And it's all thanks to Kash Singh, who, if you guys have been with us for a very long time, our first road trip in our Mach-E, our first road trip to California, I had to caveat that. We actually met him at a Shelby event in Gardenia, California.
Which was like where we ended the road trip in California. We ended it there.
And he was the first person that was like, can I fit in your frunk? And literally sat in the frunk. We have a photo of that somewhere. But yeah, so thanks to Kash. He's a really cool dude. Look him up. He actually does like races up Pikes Peak in a gas Mustang, but super cool dude. And thanks to him, we got that. But that's our big detour. The next thing that we can dive into is the two Chinese brands that made a splash at CES.
Xpeng. In this case, we didn't just get to see a car, and it was actually a 6-wheel car, but we also got to see a flying device like packaged with a car. So Xpeng had an SUV, like an off-road capable, everything like
truck
SUV thing, like live your life with this vehicle that had a, I can't remember the way that they phrased it, the flying device.
It's like a personal
aircraft, in the back that you could just like drop off so that you can drive it somewhere, and then if you get somewhere where you can no longer traverse on wheels, doesn't matter, take to the air. So Patrick got to sit in it.
It's a really cool concept. It is not available in the US. It's only available in China right now. About $300,000 as well. So there's two reasons why I can't buy this thing, but it sounded like a really cool concept, and I could see somebody. Like the idea is like you could go, drive out, camp out in the like Mojave Desert. And then you have this like flying thing that you could go fly around, check out the area, come back. And it can actually charge from the vehicle as well. So there's some really cool flexibility options, but sort of just outlandish. But hopefully you guys want a full video on that, because we did a full video. Yeah, it's just a really cool thing. And hopefully we're saying the name wrong. We've heard Xpeng pronounced.
Hopefully we're saying it wrong.
Right. Hopefully we're saying it right. We're not saying it wrong, but we've heard that pronounced several ways. But I just think it's cool, and it's really neat seeing these outlandish things, especially when they're not just a prototype. Like this is in production, I believe, in China.
Oh, it is, and I think it's for sale. But I don't think it's outlandish. I just don't know if the market for it is the casual consumer. Like, I think that that's such a cool utility vehicle. I can totally imagine people who have large acreage that's hard to cover, using the vehicle, the combination of vehicles. Like, how cool is that? People where the type of geography is not easy to go over, like if they have land and then they have mountainous regions, or if they have a solar farm or just a farm in general. Like, I'm sure you'll have to let us know if you have a potential usage for this, because sure, I could see like the casual, playful off-grid lifestyle person would love to have a $300,000 car plane thingy, but like the usefulness of that seems insane, like mammoth.
Yeah, it was really cool to see. Very outlandish. You'll see the video hopefully soon, if not already. If so, it's linked up there. But the other one that's the other Chinese company that was there that made a big splash was Zeekr, and they're sort of in some ways on the other end of the spectrum. They actually had a variety of vehicles there, 3. So it was like a really cool combo, and I don't know which one to start with first. I'll start with the 001 or 001.
I want to say the list of vehicles that they brought, because they have a larger portfolio. I personally have not paid a huge amount of attention to Zeekr because we don't have access to them. But I feel like we should, and I should more. I'm not sure if you have much, but like they have a large portfolio, and the stuff that they brought was performance, family, luxury, executive, whatever. But like it really was the gamut in those 3 vehicles. And they've only been around for 3 years, right?
Technically 3 years. Of course,
Yeah.
they're part of Geely, and like their design studio is in Sweden. So there's that connection as well with Polestar and that design. It's like there's like I don't know, complicated family or complicated Facebook status with
It's
with them.
complicated.
But we were also very lucky. Like we were just rushing in, and like we had an appointment, and we were like seeing different people. And we ended up like the head of the exterior design, the head of their like digital interface design, and the VP of Zeekr Intelligent Technology or something like that. So it was like very high level people gave us some insights into these 3 vehicles. The performance was the 001 FR, which is like even higher performance than their 001. I think they have a 001 performance that they're selling in Europe. It has like 1,300 horsepower. It has like a dedicated drifting mode. And if you get this car, you actually get like a day of training with like the world record holder drifter, something like that. So it was like some cool insights like that. But we got a really good look at the software, and the software is phenomenal. They're using a Qualcomm chip. And basically it looked like, you know, very 3D graphics, lots of different modes. And I loved in that car, they had everything from like pet mode to track mode. And then the mix was...
I'm sorry, I just have to say, by the way, that car is the same price as the Afeela.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
that's...
wait. Oh, the video's out. Go watch it.
Of course, it's not available here in the U.S., but I asked Zeekr if they're coming to the U.S., and they basically said they're going to look at new markets. And I've seen some other stuff. Kevin Williams, who writes for Inside EVs, apparently got an interview with like the CEO, and he said that like China needs the U.S. needs China, or something to that effect. And basically part of it is like, we just need green vehicles. We need, you know, if you're a company, you need new markets. So it's like something's going to happen at some point, we think. But yeah, so the 001 FR is like very high-end performance, around $100,000 in China. The next up was the Mix. And I think you love the Mix. I loved it because it's had the most innovative door openings. They basically put the B-pillar in the door, so when it opens up, it's like sliding doors. It's just so cool. It opens it up so much.
It's like a minivan, but it wasn't that big and completely flexible. Like the chairs rotate. This seems like such a huge win if you need flexibility, or if you have any mobility issues, or your passengers do. Like the rotating chairs just seem so useful. The fact that you could like rotate your chairs and then have lunch together if you're road tripping, or if you take your car to the park or whatever. Like it was so cool and so flexible. Like that's something we really need from vehicles, is flexibility and the ability to help make the car accommodate to our lives. So there was just like so much about it that was really cool. And it wasn't like a honking big thing. It was actually, it felt kind of small to me. Like
for the flexibility, yeah, it was really cool. But you'll see in the video that we have, the interview that I did, like literally like the passenger seat was turned around and I was in the second row seat, and we were like just had a conversation. So
cool.
Very cool. And apparently that one's been on sale since October in China and is only about $30,000. So it's like amazingly good price. So hopefully that's the type of thing we'll see here in the US, hopefully from some American companies as well. So that one was really cool. And then of course the other one that you don't want to drive, you want to get driven around in, was like their executive limo, but it wasn't a limo, it was like a van. But like in the back row, you had like a big screen TV, reclining chairs.
With massaging.
Did you sit in it?
No, I did not. No, wait, did I?
It was fun. You sat in the front. I saw the picture.
I did sit in the front, yeah. Yeah, and the front definitely, like you have a barricade so you can't disrupt the passengers.
It had like a privacy screen.
Yeah, a privacy screen. The back looked amazing. We did go back later. Like when we went there, Zeekr was one of our first stops, in all honesty. It was just like swarmed by people. So when we went back at the end of the whole event, like I think we went back on the Friday, it was much more quiet, but we were just like documenting. And I probably should have sat in it because that would have been really comfortable.
Another area that got really a lot of excitement was the like RV electric vehicle camper slash electric RVs. There's 3 different companies. We've seen 2 of them before, Pebble and Lightship. Both fantastic. We have a full video coming out on Pebble. We didn't end up filming with Lightship. We're hoping that we can at some point. Check out their facility in Broomfield, Colorado, correct?
Correct, I think.
Yeah. And then there was AC Future.
And by the way, Pebble, this was the unveiling of their production intent one. So we've been checking them out over the years. 2 years, something like that, and seeing it progress. So there were some changes and it was cool to cover.
And they were really proud of the fact that even though it has a smaller footprint, there's like more actual usable room inside. So it's just really neat seeing the progression of it and getting closer, and people are getting more excited. We'll have a full video out on that, but we'll give a shout out. Kyle Connor did like a full in-depth thing with Pebble where he gets more into the drivetrain and all of that, because he talked to the nerdier people.
Went hella nerdy.
Yeah. So, but it's really cool to see that segment.
And like Patrick said, we checked out AC Future. So we touched base with them last year. You guys don't know about this, but we touched base with them. They had a vision. They had like a digital version, and you could go on a virtual tour. So it's not something that we covered then, but then this year they were like, it's here. We made our first prototype, our luxury. It's called AI modular, AI transformable home. So this is like a drivable home that's like in one shape, and then you can literally like transform it. They have like a patented transformational system, technical term, that like pops out your living room and then like pops out the extra bedroom. It was weird because it feels like you're in a mobile home, as in like a home that someone has like laid on the ground and it's staying here because it was so spacious and luxurious.
They were proud of it in terms of saying like, it's like a New York City apartment on wheels.
On wheels. It's more expensive because it like really felt luxury, but they also have a whole lineup. So they are working on an ADU unit. It's an accessory dwelling unit, as well as a towable, like a smaller towing thing. So this was their like, you drive it, and then they're working on a you tow it version. But if they're anything like the one that we saw, then we can expect luxury, because that was definitely the luxury version.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. We know a lot of people that are excited by that, so we're going to try to provide coverage on all of these. We'll have a couple of dedicated videos, Pebble and AC Future, and we'll work on getting one for Lightship. And we've done stuff with them previously, so it's just really cool to see them, these also getting closer and getting into production in 2025. So excited by that. We'll start getting to some of the other non-EV stuff. There were still other like EV, a lot of other EV related things like ADAS systems, autonomous driving, people that made LiDAR. Hyundai Mobis was there. They had like a windshield that, instead of like a heads-up display, it was like the windshield was a display, and it was augmented reality. We were like, can we film that? And you're like, you can't really film it because it's like flashing and all of this stuff. But so imagine what it would be like. So that was cool. But
BMW was there. But in all honesty, they are always, it seems, in a very far away place that's difficult to walk to.
Our time is so limited. We should really get over there next year. But
yeah,
there's so much to see, including EV adjacent stuff. So like charging companies. We've spent time with Autel at other shows and previous CESs. So we took a look at what Autel has to offer again this year. So I love seeing like Autel coming out with faster and faster chargers. So, it's like previous, it's like 240 kilowatts. Now they're up to like 480 kilowatts, and more options for fleet customers and apartments and things like that. We also did a interview again with Blink. So that was really cool.
And the big thing with Blink is they are switching CEOs. So previously we've talked with Brendan Jones, who was the CEO up until recently. And now Mike Battaglia is going to be the CEO. We've actually filmed with Mike Battaglia for years, all the way back when he first attended CES during COVID times. We actually did an interview with him where he was like wearing a mask on a video because he was like there on the floor and no one else was there. So it's cool to see someone who's like been in the thick of things now like taking over the reins, and it'll be exciting to see what Blink does in 2025.
Yeah, and I think that the interesting thing from them, you'll have to watch the interview, is basically they're growing and learning. So if you have criticisms of like some of these companies, it's just like Electrify America, ChargePoint and all, like valid criticisms, but these companies are growing and learning, and they're learning about like which equipment doesn't work, which equipment does, how maintenance works and doesn't work. So they're really focused on growth in 2025 and providing solutions and a variety of solutions as well. So that was really cool to see. As we were saying, there's also some companies that are there that are sort of EV connected, maybe not EV connected. One of them that I've known for a long time is Eaton. And basically it's because I work in IT. I've used Eaton products to power our data centers in various locations for years. So I've known the Eaton brand, and they are involved in a lot of electricity type things. And of course, EVs are powered by electricity. So they are getting into that. They have some really cool stuff. They have like an EV charger, but what I was really excited about is they're doing some like smart breakers, as well as basically locating, not technically the EV charger, because what's on your wall in the garage is not really an EV charger, it's an EVSE. They're like putting that technology into like a circuit breaker, so then all you really have is a plug, and that can provide some flexibility for like if you know, even for a homeowner, depending on your situation, but also for fleet owners and hotels and things like that. They're doing some smart monitoring of your power usage as well, using these smart breakers. Some really cool stuff. I'm really excited to learn more about them. We did a full video.
We actually did a full video last year as well.
Yeah, that video did really well, which I was pleased and surprised. So we're back again, and we will continue talking with them and giving you coverage of this type of stuff, because these are the companies that you don't necessarily think about, you know, as the sexy EV companies that are making a car that does 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, but they're the ones that are finding solutions for fleet customers and homeowners and stuff like that. And really, I think, you know, we have this EV transition, but we also have this transition into smart electricity, smart grid, and the smart grid, you know, continuing it down into your house, which is monitoring your energy usage and making sure the energy usage is the energy that you use is used smartly or correctly as well. So they can help you with all of that stuff. Really cool to see them. I can't wait to share that video with you as well.
Another EV thing that was there, but we didn't cover it, was Aptera. Now, Aptera is actually down the road from us. They're about 10 minutes away. So we're going to go to their facility, cover them right there, and just go down the road. But Aptera was there at CES giving people rides on Sunshine. Literally, they had their production intent version there and riding on Sunshine. And I can't remember the stats, but basically, I think they ended up with more miles at the end of it than they started with.
They ended up with more range at the end of the week than they started with, and that's because as they were, you know, have the car parked there and everything, and it's out there in the sun in Vegas, it gained range over the week. So that's really cool stuff. You know, I'm sure a lot of you guys also watch stuff like Batteries Included podcast. We were on that episode, and Kyle Connor talked a bit about, like, you know, their don't have a plan for ABS brakes, and there's some other doubts about like getting this thing out. But I can tell you, because we went to the Aptera like CES party with their supporters, the enthusiasm and the passion from their supporters is there. The team that was there, they had some of their engineers talking. It's like, if you go there, it's infectious and you believe in them. And we have an order for one, because I want one of these things sitting in our driveway, and I want to like use it for an entire year without plugging it in.
I mean, wouldn't it be great if they can do it? We don't know if they can, but they definitely need money. So that's the position that they're in now, is they need more investors. And their investors are very much fueled by regular people. Like Patrick said, we have a reservation, that people have reservations, that people have invested their own time and money and effort. There were so many people who came out to CES. Aptera actually gave away CES badges to people. And they came out just for the event, just to see Aptera, because there's so many people who are so passionate about it. I love to see it, and also I really hope it happens. I know that they need a big push to get to their next level, but like you said, the passion is there, and we got to see it up close.
Yeah, and like I said, we or like Liv said, we elected to not film with them there because they were swamped.
It was swamped. We have them down the road. We're not going to go take them away from someone else.
So let us know if we should schedule. I think the answer is yes. They're literally like 10 minutes away from us. So exciting to see them there, exciting to see the enthusiasm, and I love that support that they have. Another company that I had not heard of before we got to CES was, how do you say that? Elaphe?
Elaphe?
And Italdesign. So Italdesign is behind a lot of famous cars, and I think the one that I was like, oh wow, is they were behind the design of the original DeLorean. So that was really cool to learn about that. But they are an Italian design powerhouse that's been around for years. They're coming to the US. They're going to have an office in Detroit and offer some of their services. They had a prototype like super truck.
Amazing.
That was like a super car, but it was also a truck. Looked fantastic. And the motors were by Elaphe. And I had never heard of this company, but they have this really cool electric motor design where it's not like a lot of times there's the EV motor, and then you have the axles going out to the wheel, and then there are some hub motors where it's like built in, it's like a hub inside the wheel. This is like almost like a donut, and there was actually a company called Donut that is also doing this, but it was like basically it within the wheel, and they were showing like you can still have the big massive disc brakes and stuff like that on a performance car or performance truck. So it was really interesting technology. And it was showing, the strength of Italdesign and being able to design something really cool and partner with somebody like Elaphe to come up with something like this. And we did a whole video on the advantages of having like the wheel, having the wheel in the hub, or the power. I got tongue tied, but you know what I mean. But they were saying like they're a lot more precise control, but you could even like alert the driver by like shimmying the wheels, so that like if there's a pedestrian or something like that, that's how you can introduce vibration into the car. Really trippy stuff, and the fact that traction on sand and snow and pavement can, if it's more precisely controlled, is what they were saying. This should give a lot of advantages.
And I love this because we get to prep for CES and see the tech that's coming, see some of it, and prepare for like where we want to spend our time, because it's so enormous. So we're like, oh, Elaphe, in-wheel motors, this looks really interesting. And then Italdesign, like, wait, they're together. Like, that is the perfect way to show off the usefulness of a product with something so eye-catchy as Italdesign, because like, it's not, a wheel's not super eye-catchy, but like when you see it, in like what it's gonna be in, I thought that was a really cool way to like share the booth and share the tech.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things at CES, like I was saying, like ADAS systems and LiDAR, and it's like I'm super interested in them, but they just don't make a great video, because I'm like, yeah, this box. That's about all I can say. So it's the same thing. It's like, yeah, this wheel motor, imagine it spinning, but like when it's attached to a car, it's really cool.
Although you guys really enjoyed our Magna video last year, which was all the straight up fun nerdy stuff. We did reach out to them this year and they did not have a display, but we touched base with them. So let us know how much of the nerdy stuff you do want to see.
And as you know, we have solar in our roof. We have like a big battery in our home office. We're sort of interested in like a lot of these companies that are talking about like portable batteries and home batteries. And there were a lot that were there. We stopped by a few of them. Jackery was one. They had what I thought was one of the cooler products being announced, and I wish it was announced like 2 years ago, is like on our roof, we have concrete tile roofs, like those Spanish looking tiles, but they're not tiles, they're concrete tiles. But they're like the wavy ones that are, what color is that?
Terracotta.
Terracotta color. That's what we have on our roof, and they have a solar tile that is like that, and they are going to come out with that this year. So it was like, we put solar panels on our roof. I wish we could have put this on our roof. That would have been really cool. So I thought that was a really cool product. Of course, they have their, their other lineup of like portable batteries.
And the complete home power system.
Yeah, yeah. And EcoFlow was there as well. I think the coolest, dorkiest thing.
What? Oh.
They had a solar hat, and yes, I put it on, and I'm like, wow, that looks really cool. And then I put it on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look like such a dork. But I could see like that could be like a really cool thing, because they literally were like, here's a USB-C cable, plug it into the hat, you can plug your phone in, and you could go hiking and you could power your phone, which I wouldn't necessarily want to do all the time, but I could see like, we have friends in Colorado that literally went off grid for a week.
I'm gonna tell you what. So I can't believe he found that and I didn't, because like we actually split up at times to just like cover more ground. He found the solar hat. I am trying to I'm into sun protection and stuff, so I should have found that, because I think I would totally wear a solar hat and then power one of those fans. You know those clip-on fans that like blow on you, so like you're out in the sun or whatever, and then you have a fan powered?
And the guy
do that.
His thing that he had that was demoing it, was, oh no, this is actually a different company. Gosh, I forgot. No, somebody had a jacket that was powered, but it was by an umbrella. Like they need to switch companies.
That was Jackery too.
That was Jackery too? Okay.
I think so.
Anyways,
it
was overwhelming.
Yeah.
So that, but anyways, yeah, a lot of these companies, like I said, Jackery had a bunch of really cool stuff. It was Anker. That's what it was.
Was it? Oh,
they had a solar umbrella. I had to find it in our notes. We're trying not to like act like we remember all of this, but we actually have notes here.
Anker had a solar umbrella.
A solar umbrella, and you would have loved this because we have like a table in the front and the back.
And I have solar on them.
Yeah, so the entire umbrella is solar, except it's black instead of like a nice tan color.
Oh, that's fine. So then it lights up?
No, you can then plug things into it, or you could charge a battery with it. So that was really cool.
That's super cool, because like we'll go and sit under the umbrella and then we'll take a Blue Eddy. They're going to put Blue Eddy out of business.
I know. They're all competing. Compete. We like this.
Yeah. Oh, and so they had a battery cooler as well, which is super cool.
Yeah, and they've had a battery cooler. They've updated it this year, and the sort of the key difference is that they put like a fan. And what they were doing is like they were just trying to cool the cooler, but now they put a fan, so it's cooling the air. And they were talking about how much faster, like if you put some sodas in there, and because it's cooling the air, it cools everything down quicker. So I like this. There's innovations in coolers at CES, and we're covering it on our EV channel.
If we have any sudden cuts, I have to say, by the way, we both actually obviously got sick at CES because you're surrounded by like 100,000 people. So we are occasionally cutting to cough. So another company I do want to shout out was EcoFlow. I know we mentioned them with the solar hat, but they also have an AI battery coming out. AI was a big thing. It was a big thing last year. It was like a hot word, a hot trend thing. But this year, it seems like people have worked out how to utilize AI into their companies better. So like everyone, a lot of people had like sort of an AI something, like a way that they were utilizing it. So
like I saw somebody say it was like easier to count how many booths didn't say AI versus how many. Yeah, it was because basically everybody mentioned AI, and around the automotive and EV world, the other buzzword that I thought made it even bigger presence this year than I've seen before was software-defined vehicles. And it took part in basically the one big thing was the Motortrend awards. They have actually like a SDV awards, and they gave out a bunch of awards to various people, but Liv wants to mention one.
Matt Jones. So that was at the Motortrend awards party, and we got to see Matt Jones. I was trying to remember because he picked up 2 awards for Ford, right?
One was for Alex Purdy, and I forget his role at Ford, but he won something else as well. I could pick it
And
up.
Patrick stopped
We'll
to
put it in the
check the
description.
award.
But Matt Jones was recognized as a SDV leader, so that he leads a team, and his team, of course, is at Ford, and they're like setting the next era in software-defined vehicles. So it may seem like a cheesy award, but like like the Emmy for best microphone or something like that. But these are very big awards, especially for where the industry is going. And it was really cool to be able to go to the Motor Trend Awards for this.
Yeah, extremely cool. We watched a ton of other like high level awards, but the biggest award was one that I was able to give. It was to Matt Jones, who is also a Mach-E owner. So of course he had to get a fancy pony. I know that is just a secondary award, and it was very cool to be there at the Motor Trend event and see all the amazing awards. But I'm sure Matt's trophy and his fancy pony are like next to each other.
And and to learn overall how the industry is really focused on software-defined vehicles. Like I said, everybody was talking about that, and it's, everything, all the connected services, all of those type of things that people are talking about. And in a related sense, the other thing that we went to was the SBD Automotive breakfast, which a bunch of OEMs were there, and they were just sort of talking about, it was actually a really interesting breakfast, and to hear the discussion, basically talking about like, we're at CES. It's always easy to go like, "Ooh, that's cool tech. Let's put that in our next whatever vehicle." And they were talking about like trying to relate to the customer and making sure that, the tech that we're putting in the cars matches what customers want. So we ended up doing a really, really good interview, cough break, with the president.
CEO.
CEO, right.
Yeah.
To talk about like how that's going for the whole industry and how they're looking at that. I think it's fascinating because it's really interesting because like, as we know, like everybody decided, let's get rid of all buttons in the cars. And then like us drivers are like, what are you talking about? Like, I want a quick button to do, turn on my hazard lights or whatever. So, we talked a little bit about that and like how they're making these decisions and the surveys that they're doing and the differences around the world and different age groups and what, EV owners and vehicle owners are looking for.
It was super interesting. And when you say like, drivers are like, we want buttons, it's like, it's not random. So if you ever wondered, are they listening to you? They are. And SBD Automotive, they've made all of their stuff open source, like all of their surveys and all the data and all that, like mounds and mounds of cool data. And it was so awesome to just sit there and have them present it. And we're like, whoa. This many people think this percentage of people from this country feel that. Really interesting. Like, for example, what do people in South Africa most want their car for? Safety. Makes sense. If you've ever been to South Africa, you want a car for safety, or like that's the most important thing. Not necessarily the same thing everywhere, and that's an important thing to be aware of, an important distinction. So it was really, really cool to like have that fed to us while we're drinking coffee, and we're like, ooh, look at all this, and that the automakers were there too, and that this info is available, and we're gonna put it down below, by the way.
Yeah, it's 4S Mobility. Is their project that they're like open sourcing. It stands for like the 4 S's.
Safety, sustainability,
seamless, security.
Sure. I can't remember.
Yes.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So anyways, we won't spend long on that. It's not like super tech related, but I thought it was really cool. And they had stats on like, I think it was like 61% of the stuff that you see at CES will not make it into a vehicle within the next 5 years. So it's like it was like a little bit of a warning of like, just because you see something at CES doesn't mean that every car, or not every car, but any car is going to have that in the next 5 years. There are a lot of things that are like, yeah, that's cool, but why do I care?
I think it was really interesting. I'm excited for your interview to come out. And yeah, if you ever wondered whether automakers are listening to, they are. And it was cool to also see how different automakers, like what their primary effort is. So like Volvo's goals might be also safety, whereas Tesla's goal might be innovation. Or
Well, they
something.
mentioned that like the internal politics a little bit. So like at Volvo, if you're like, hey, we need to like improve our safety on this because of, this is the new safety thing. The culture of Volvo is about safety. So you're like, yes, let's do it. If you are, a different company, like maybe Jeep, they'd be like, yeah, but if we can't take the roof off, our owners will revolt, even though it's safer or whatever, you know what I mean? So anyways, but enough about that. We get that was like one of the cool invites that we got, was to go to like this breakfast and get involved in the industry more. But we also got to go to some other really cool events.
CES doesn't just start with like the stuff on the show floor. They also do these events. There's Unveiled and Pepcom. There's also another one called Showstoppers, which we weren't able to attend. But they're basically a bunch of the people displaying at CES come into one big ballroom sort of thing, and they have little areas that you can go learn about them. So it's much more like palatable, and you can just like munch on different things. So we got to know a bunch of smaller companies that we might not have found as easily, and a bunch of big companies were there too. A huge one that we got to know last year at Pepcom, I think, is Pivotal, and they are a personal flying device. They are available right now. People are flying, and we're gonna learn how to do it.
Actually, let's vote on this. No, maybe not.
No.
Basically, we have the opportunity. First of all, we need a budget to go do it. We're trying to figure out funding to go up and do this, because we've got to take 5 days off and go stay in a hotel and stuff. But they've offered to let us go through their 5 days of flight training, where we actually get to fly this. And of course, make a video or two about it. So I want to do it, but I'm also a bit like nervous about it. But it's also a really cool opportunity, but it's also expensive.
Yes, it's expensive to us, but also terrifying. So by the way, we can go through the training. You can go through the training. But in this case, we can go through the training and just do the simulator. Or we can go through the simulator and then progress to the next level. They are being kind enough to give us the opportunity to do this. I think Patrick should go to the next level. I'm quite attached to the ground, so I don't think I'm doing that, but...
And by the way, like eVTOLs were big at CES last year. They're big this year. And I sort of was like, yeah, whatever. But a friend of ours, Tim Jackson, we knew him in Colorado. He used to own a Mach-E. He actually wrote a book on eVTOLs and the coming revolution.
Where's my flying car or something?
Dude, where's my flying car? And he talks about like, some of the uses. Some of it may be like, rich people like have a eVTOL in their driveway, and that's how they get back and forth to work. But some of us normal people, it might be like in Colorado, for example, like if you are in the Boulder area and you want to fly out the Denver airport, it could be like an 1.5-hour drive, and then you have to go through the airport or whatever. But there's a local airport up in the Boulder area, so like you may have eVTOL service from there to the Denver airport, and you actually go through like TSA security and then take a little eVTOL there. It's like it's only like 30 miles or whatever. Anyways, there are opportunities like that that may introduce us into electric flying vehicles. And apparently like Uber's interested, United Airlines, like a lot of the airlines are interested. Go check out the book. We'll put a link in the description for that. It's super interesting that this is coming. And I don't think a lot of people, at least I was sort of like, I'm worried about electric vehicles, and flying electric vehicles seems like far off, but it's not.
It's not. And it's so trippy that we're going to get the opportunity to do this. By the way, I was just checking. It's Pivotal's the company Helix. So the Pivotal Helix. I'm really excited and also nervous, but I don't know about you guys. You have to let us know what you think. Are you interested in this stuff? Because I think it's really interesting. And like, I feel like if I'm nervous about it, then potentially other people are too. So I mean, I think a lot of people are probably nervous.
The same thing is like with autonomous vehicles. Like we have to get the regulations there, as well as the track record and the safety to be proven before it gets widespread adoption. Because like I think we got to build that trust up. So,
but by the way, with the Pivotal, there was a person, I can't remember his name, but like an owner, he has his own Pivotal, his Pivotal Helix, and he was gifting his friends training. So a bunch of his friends were there, and all of them have been gifted training and can fly his, which is just so cool.
that's quite cool. I'll go visit him.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to try roll faster because, gosh, it's been long. But some of the other little companies that we were able to see at Pepcom and Unveiled, Strutt and their EV1. So this is like an all-terrain quad motor wheelchair. This is an electric vehicle, but the idea being that you can just be far more mobile with the technology in your wheelchair. Like it's not, it can be something that's almost enviable. It's so cool. And this looked really, really cool. They even had like an AI co-pilot, I think it was, to like help you with your journey. So that was cool to see. Next one was you.
Stellar. I like the name of the company, Stellar, but they basically sell different devices, and the whole idea is providing you connectivity in your car when you absolutely have to have connectivity. So the idea is like they can basically use like AT&T and Verizon and T-Mobile and put the bandwidth together, or basically pick the right one. They can use satellite services, so Starlink and other satellite providers as well, so they can sort of aggregate these connections to make sure you always have connectivity. And you may think like, who really needs to be that connected? But like if you're a road warrior and you're always working from the road, you may need that type of redundancy and availability, and you don't want to be like, well, my work site has Verizon coverage, but my car has AT&T, so I can't work from there. So that's what they specialize in. We're hoping to be able to test out one of the devices. If we do, what we want to do is go to some areas where we know have horrible coverage and do some live streams and really test it out and put it through its paces. So that was a really cool company.
By the way, we tried live streams on the road. It's something we've done occasionally here and there, but it can be really, really hard. We always hear from you guys when we try to do it. It's like, the signal's terrible, you've frozen, the sound is bad. So that's the goal. That would be the goal, is to like try to get a really good live stream going.
Yeah, Kyle does it. I don't know how he gets away with it. We've had horrible luck with it. So hopefully we can test out a Stellar device. If you're the type where you have a company that needs that, check them out. We'll put links to them as well down below, like with everybody. Actually, maybe I'll put a web page up too. Another one is CleverCharge. They make a EVSE, and basically, again, we're hoping to test this out. They check some of the boxes that I'm always looking for, safety certifications, but they are also talking about a smart charger, smart home charger, which I sort of like chuckled at first, because I'm always like, everybody that we sort of deal with that wants to send us a charger is like, it's a smart charger. And I'm like, what do you mean by smart? And it means you can set a schedule. And I'm like, so like basically like my alarm clock from 1970s. I mean, it's not like it's really that complicated. There's supposedly a smart charger with the idea of like, it can, like you don't really have to program when you're going to give it a charge. It'll know like what charges you need based on the averages, and won't like charge past when electricity gets expensive unless it knows that you need that. And then it's like, it'll figure things out for you.
It's a CleverCharge.
It's a CleverCharge.
That's a good name.
So we're, hopefully we can test that out and, see how clever it is. And supposedly we'll also like manage if you have multiple cars and even multiple houses. So sounds complicated, but sounds smart. And as people start having multiple EVs, I can see this becoming something that we actually want to have. Let's see, who's next? There were a slew of dashcam companies, Nextbase, Viofo, Blackview. We're actually running Blackview on our car right now. We've tested out Viofo dashcams. Let me know, like we did a couple of reviews and we sort of paused on that. We used some dash cam footage in some of our road trip videos. So should we review more dash cams, or should we just go like, this is the one to buy and forget all the rest? Or do you want to like sort of see, one of the things I was sort of pitching at the dash cam companies is that we don't necessarily have to review like all the features and all of that stuff, but maybe just throw out a bunch of footage. So like when we do our road trip videos, we'll say like this segment is VOFO blah blah blah, and then the next segment is Blackview whatever.
I like you totally just telling them how we're gonna film. I think that's a good idea. We should do that.
Let me know.
Yeah.
And if so, what we'll do is like we'll request to to review these units, and then see how it goes.
Show you the footage. If you don't know, we had a leak last year which caused an insane amount of damage. Water is really destructive. This whole wall was gone. It was not great. But so leak protection, stuff like that. Any of the smart home things that help protect your home, very interesting to us personally. And also, we would really like to save you guys from the awfulness of that. And like, really, when it comes to leaks and things like that, you just got to know it's happening. Like, an awful thing is to not know that it's happening. So it was really cool to come across the Droplet leak sensor. We actually met the designer, Emily. She's also an industrial designer, which if you don't know, I am too. So that was really cool to meet her, learn about her design intent, also with like the packaging and all that. Like, it's all really very intentional. You know how it works, but I was really psyched to see the aesthetics of it and meet Emily and Julia, who are both the co-founders of it.
Yeah, I'm interested in it, and I hope to test this out if you guys are interested. And why I say this is like, if you're interested, we may be able to request a review unit. But what I want to do is like test it out so you don't have to like buy it and just hope that it works, and we could sort of like make some leaks, like leave the faucet on and see if it can detect that. Because one of the great things about this one in particular is like you don't need a plumber to like come out and like cut your pipes and install it. It literally just attaches to the pipes and supposedly can detect very small leaks. So we'll see. Hopefully we get to test it out. Sounds really cool, and it was really great to meet both of them.
I feel confident in them, and I definitely want to test it out. I mean, great for situations where you can't necessarily do that work and you don't have the funds to do it. Maybe you're renting or something like that, and you just want to like clamp this on, and it literally like clamps on. So definitely something that we're going to try test. You have to let us know if you're interested. Next, Gemma sensors.
Yeah.
So this was on the floor, and you need to explain how this works.
It's really interesting because all of these smart home sensors and switches and things like that, a lot of them are battery powered. And then if they're battery powered, you have to worry about when does the battery fill and is it smart enough to let you know and things like that. So they're trying to come up with a different way of powering some of these things, like a water sensor. And it's basically capturing like a micro bit of energy, sometimes using magnets, for example, actually using magnets. And it's like went above me a little bit. I need to like re-listen to that when I'm tired. I was tired, now I can understand it.
Yeah.
But the whole idea is, so like a water sensor, it's like you have it preloaded, and then there's no battery at all in it. And then when it detects water, it releases like a spring-loaded thing, not spring-loaded, magnet-loaded. And then when the magnet turns, that generates just that much power, but that's enough power for it to wake up and send like, hey, there's a water leak, and then that's it.
Basically, the long and the short of it is that we have water sensors that are in the walls now. We have like access panels and everything so that we can hopefully know that there's a leak or if that ever happens again. But Patrick has to go hop back in there once a year, change out the batteries. So something like this is perfect for those situations where you need to have a little device that uses just a little bit of power that you really can't easily get to, but you charge it. I'm not going to say this the technical way, but basically what he did was charged it up one time, it's good to go, and then it's powered for its job, which is a very minimal amount of energy, and then the usage of the energy still allows it to like keep the energy. Like you don't have to go recharge it. It sounds amazing.
It's like a one-time, not a one-time use, but you reload it. Yeah, like you reload the magnet. So if you think about that, it's sort of complicated and nerdy, and this is why I loved it. So we won't spend much time on that. We'll move on to the next thing, and we probably should have included this with some of the other battery stuff, but it was BioLite Energy. They had the coolest home battery backup solution that I have seen. Basically, like we have like this big giant 56-pound brick that sits under my desk and I kick half the time. That's 2.4 kilowatt hours. What they came up with is like a very thin battery, which is, I mean, it's just basically a different form factor, but it's like, duh, this is brilliant because you can put it on the wall and then it stays a little bit out of the way. Or I could I was thinking I want to mount that like underneath the desk and then have it power the home office. So basically it's it's an emergency backup, your home backup, but instead of spending like $15,000 on one that goes in the garage or having like a big, huge thing that's sitting in the, like our home office that's in our way, this would be, sort of out of the way on the wall, on top of the fridge was another one. And the whole idea is like you can plug the fridge into the battery, then plug the battery into the wall. And then if you lose power, you have a few hours of battery backup for your fridge. So the idea is like you won't have the whole house, but you won't
have
lose
the important things.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool because like literally Patrick and I were separate at this time. So we both found BioLite and then afterwards we were like, oh, look at this cool company. I'm like, I found them first. But I like that you also had like different ideas than I did. I was totally like, oh, I love the fridge thing because like you could stick it behind the fridge even. Or on top. But basically, the designers are both in New York, I think. So like place where you're really short on room. So it's not like you can have this chunky battery taking up a lot of space. Another cool thing is at their exhibit, like this really small space, like we said, it was a ballroom, with like everyone had like maybe a table size. They had their batteries were powering a refrigerator right there, and inside the fridge they were cooling their awards. So they got an innovation award. So I don't know if you got to do this, but I held it and it was chilled.
No, I was really asking cold. Questions because I would
had beverage.
When you said I want to try it out for was not only for emergency backup, but my idea is like if I have this battery and it costs us like twice as much to power our home office during peak hours as it does to power it at midnight when we don't need it. It's like, can I like plug that in, have it in, 24/7, charge it up from like midnight to 6 a.m. when it's cheap here in San Diego, and then cheaper, then have it power our home office the rest of the day. And they're like, yes, absolutely. Like that's the type of situation that, one of the situations that we have thought about. So that's what we've been doing with that big brick that I keep kicking under the desk. But if I had something like this, I was like, I want to try it out for that. Also, it'd be cool to power your refrigerator, but hopefully we get to test that out because I think that's super cool. And I think it'd be a lot cheaper, like I said, than to have a big unit on your wall. Although, I would love to have that. This is sort of like a great stopgap. And it can also be useful, by the way, like, we don't have this situation, but people that have like oxygen machines or, medical equipment that needs to be powered. It sort of sucks if it's like, hey, you got to spend $10,000 in case you have a power outage. And by the way, the battery that you put in is going to power your TV and your lights and all this other stuff. And you're like, that's great, but I just want my essential medical equipment to be powered. That's what this is for. Is like, let's get the cost down and let's power the things that are critical.
Bosch was also there at Pepcom, I think it was, and they have a whole e-bike system. And the thing that they were unveiling at this event was their battery lock. So basically, like it's all app controlled and everything, but like if your bike is stolen, it just locks the battery. Like it locks it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's always the issue is like if somebody steals your bike, they have it, and that'd be cool. Is like if you can like lock them out of at least using the battery.
Yeah, and I think like it does a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm sure like they have literally a whole system. I didn't realize like how involved they are in the ecosystem of e-bikes. But they really are.
So many things.
Yeah.
Their booth actually on the show floor is huge.
Oh yeah.
And they have fantastic coffee, or so we've heard.
The line's always like
the line
down
is
the block.
So long, but
yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cool to mess around with as well.
Yeah.
And just to learn more about.
Yeah, and like it totally makes sense. Like our bikes are smart. Like why aren't the locks smart too?
We've talked about some other smart home stuff. I'll jump into a couple of companies at least. Lutron was there. They make a lot of like smart switches. They were showing off they're getting into blinds. So excited to see what they're going to be coming out with the smart blinds. I keep saying like the ones behind us, the vertical blinds. I don't think they're going to have smart vertical blinds, but maybe I could replace those blinds with Lutron blinds, even though they won't be vertical, or windows. I sort of love the idea, and I've read some stats too about like, especially like here in San Diego, we don't use our heat that much. We don't have AC, but like, for example, in the summer, speaking of no AC, is like, we love being able to see out and see the sunny, weather. But like in the afternoon, the sun's coming in our front dining room window and it just is like baking. And I would love for it to be like, oh, here comes the sun. Now we're going to lower the blinds. Or just like at night, it's like, let's close up the house and we close all the blinds, that type of thing. So very cool to see Lutron getting into that space. There's a ton of companies on Amazon that I've sort of looked at, but it's not by anybody that I recognize the brand, and I worry about them disappearing after 2 or 3 years, and then I can't run the app anymore to get them to work. So, but Lutron, I sort of trust them.
And we wouldn't want to recommend something to you that's going to go out of business. So.
Yeah. Another company that was there, Govee. The lights on the wall, not the one around the door, but the one above Liv's head. That's a Govee floor lamp. They were there.
Govee.
Yeah, we have some of their lights outside. They just have so many cool products. They make some really good stuff at CES. They had like these little like tile basically lights, and you could put like 20 of them together and make displays and things like that. So they had some cool stuff on display. If you're into smart lighting, super cool to see them, and that they're continuing to make improvements in smart home lighting and adding colors. I never thought I would care to have like blue lights, but it's really cool when we're filming. Liv likes the colored lights, like when she's taking a bath, and it's like, let's dim the lights down to 20% and make it soft white instead of harsh white.
I say it's bath time, and then my bathroom goes all like nice and warm.
This goes back into, I want to do some more smart home stuff. Hopefully you guys are interested in that, because I want to make some videos about it.
If you're still with us, thank you. This is going so long. All right, someone we have to talk about is What 3 Words. What 3 Words is so cool. You can go to what3words.com, I think. There's a What 3 Words app, and you can get the 3 words that are the 10 by 10 foot square. Three by what is it? 3. We have one for our house, which I won't say, but What 3 Words, they were doing like little laser things.
Do you want to tell them where this one is, and then we'll see if they can guess that one?
This is my old house in South Africa. So they were letting you like find your 3 words for a location. I chose my old house in South Africa, and then we have a present for someone.
And see if you guys can figure that one out, and let us know if you know who we're going to be giving this one to. They don't know it yet.
They don't know it yet. And we'll just say that if you figure it out, be there February 28th, 8:30 a.m. And then like buy tickets to Disneyland as well, because that's going to happen. Did I just say?
Message us. Yeah.
Message us. You'll figure it out. So What 3 Words is great. It's used in some vehicles. I know VinFast. Who else?
I forgot now.
Like some vehicles actually come with it in. So you could say, you could tell your car to navigate to Tweet Indoor Patisserie.
But if you have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay,
you can do it as well.
And to be honest, where I see What 3 Words being very valuable is places like a park or something like that. They use it a lot in the UK, by the way, for their emergency services. But like if you're meeting like in a big park, like the park by our house, and we actually had this at one of our last Mach-E meetups, we were like, we're going to meet in the park. And I like put the pin exactly where I wanted on Google Maps, where I want everybody to meet. Well, when you look at it in Google Maps, it just is like Mance Buchanan Park. Well, people navigated to Mance Buchanan Park and like, I couldn't find you guys. Well, with What 3 Words, you can be like, we're going to be
here,
in this square, and it'll navigate you exactly to that square. So it sounds like additional layer, but it just makes it really easy because if I say meet us at Mance Buchanan Park, it's acres and acres of park versus this
I think,
square.
yeah, no, I think it's hugely useful. And when you start thinking about all the potential applications, obviously emergency services, stuff like that. But let's say like your vehicle is unfortunately disabled on the side of the highway. Instead of having to say, I just passed the exit to whatever, El Camino, you say, I'm right here. I'm at this exact like 3 words. Or you're trying to meet people at a festival or something and you're like, I'm on the right hand side of the stage or whatever.
Yeah.
These 3 words, or if you're lost or anything like that. Like there's tons of potential application. So it's great to catch up with them again. And also we even stumbled across 3 words on a TV show that we really like, Outlaws. So they were doing something really naughty and it was like a crime, I think.
They were trying to
solve a crime, yeah.
She said that he was rambling, that she could only make out a few words and numbers. Flop sponge knee, 209.
What 3 words?
Flop sponge knee.
No, what 3 words?
Flop sponge knee just said.
Yeah, what 3 words?
He just said.
Greg, the mapping software called what 3 words?
But what 3 words was used, which was really, really cool.
Just cool it.
What?
No, our
Is
next
that
one.
the 3 words? Oh, okay. Our next one, because that could be just cool it. Like, where is that? Okay.
No,
fine.
it has to be never mind. Anyway,
Okay.
just
that's
go
3.
into
Okay.
that.
So we hung out at the Blue Eddy booth. We love Blue Eddy. We have a Blue Eddy. We were checking out the stuff that they have. I think they unveiled a new battery and also their home battery. I'm not sure the size of it even because we were distracted because they had a DJ and we had a dance party. So the DJ was powered by the Blue Eddies, by their products. We had the best time there having a dance party and it got hotter than you would think. Like we were literally dancing for an hour. And then some other people that we'd met over at Zero Breeze came over with their, I'm trying to remember what the name of the device is. It's like Mark 3 or something. It was the new device that they unveiled and they cooled us down with their portable air conditioner. So like we had Blue Eddy and then Zero Breeze with their air conditioner and it was awesome.
Yeah, it's seems really cool. Like I could see us trying it out. Like I said, we don't have AC, just for that little bit of cooling time that we need, like right before we're going to bed when it's like really hot. Like let's cool off the bedroom, but it's like it's designed so like you could take it when you go camping and you're like enjoying the outdoors, but it's really hot and you want to get to sleep or whatever. So I thought it's just really cool.
Oh yeah, their product demos, they have it like cooling down a tent, which looks really helpful. But even this past summer, we went to EV Fest with SoCal EVs, and it was nuclear hot, and we could have really, really used one of those. So lots and lots of applications, car events, whatever. But it was really cool to like cool down while we were dancing. Next.
You can, because I know you.
What?
We'll just say EV Bronco.
EV Bronco. If you've seen any of our footage before with Zero Labs, our friend Adam Rowe runs Zero Lab, and they have the most gorgeous Bronco. I want to say restoration, but really it's like...
It's a resto mod.
It's a resto mod, but like they completely redo it. So this was actually at the Sonatus booth. It wasn't like anywhere else, but like we have to give a shout out to the craftsmanship of this thing because it's just gorgeous.
By the way, I just saw on Threads today, if you look up Zero Labs, contact Adam. If you have a lot of cash laying around, he is going to sell his first EV Bronco conversion, that one that we've seen. It's not this one, but the one that we saw at one of the other shows. He's going to let go of 001, I guess it is.
Ooh, snap. That'll be pricey, but worth it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Other random things that we're going to try to run through real quick. They had a Lucid Gravity, not really part of CES. It was just outside one of the hotels. They were giving Lucid rides, so that was cool.
We frunknicked. I think that's what they call it. So we hopped in the frunk, I hopped inside, and it was actually really nice. I mean, I know that's not a surprise, but I was surprised at how nice it felt.
Waymo was there. They actually had a booth in CES, so we got to see, they've been using like Jaguar I-Pace here in the US. They're going to start using Ioniq 5s, it looks like, because they had one there, so we have some footage of that. And they had like a specialized vehicle built by Zeekr, I think. Yeah.
And they had Waymos running around, like 1 mapping and 2 testing. So it was really cute. Like 1, we saw someone driving around and like recording whatever. And then another one, it was just like going by itself. Like
that was Zooks.
No.
It was Zooks.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Zooks was there too.
So that's fine. They were actually had regular looking SUVs that were driving around and mapping as well as like testing out some of their software. But we saw a Zooks drive by.
Yeah.
And we asked, and they were like, "Oh, it's only for friends and family." So I tried to make friends with the guy, but I was like, "Hi, friend," and he's like, he didn't really go there. But would love to give them a try. Waymo is actually out here in the LA area, so we could potentially go up to LA. I feel like that's, people have been there, done that, but I wouldn't mind filming a video and testing that out. If you guys are interested, then we'll make an effort to take some time and do that.
Obviously, there was a whole ton of e-mobility. This is an area that we kind of like just popped through and like looked at everything that was going on. Segway was there, and they had a ton of scooters, which is cool. Our friends with Oh Wow Bikes were there. They were actually like swamped and busy when we went, but they have a really cool lineup. And like you look at the bikes, you're like, oh wow, when you look at them. I promise.
We did though.
We did, like every time you've seen them. Hey Bike was there as well. We saw Project Urban 2-3, I think it's called. That's like a future electric mobility, but it's basically a platform for like motorbike or a 3-wheel. So that was cool to see.
And a lot of e-mobility were over in the Venetian, and we didn't even touch this year.
There. Yeah. What else? There were.
And if you guys are interested, we have some e-bike reviews that we still haven't edited. But
let us know if you are interested in e-bikes.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get great views, but if you're interested, we'll do it. And we can always put it on EV Explored, or we can just keep it on here. I don't know.
Let us know. Last year at CES, you may have seen we covered Current. This is actually like what? They're called Current Backyard. They're actually like a subsidiary of Charbroiled, so they were like a startup and everything, but they're like funded and fueled by like a legit grilling like company, and they're just taking over and taking everything by storm. And they have electric grills that are as good as normal grills. And then this year at CES, they unveiled an electric pizza oven, like portable and everything.
It looks so cool, and it's sort of funny because like sometimes we meet these companies who are like, "Hey, we would love to review your product," and I'm like, "I would love to review the pizza oven," but I was also like, "Hey, Tom Malogny needs to review your product," because him and Kyle did a race from New York down to Jacksonville, and he was in the F-150 Lightning, and he had like this little pizza oven that he ran while he was driving, and I'm like,
you pitched Tom for the pizza because he legit needs an electric pizza oven.
Yeah, I need to send him a message and say like, you got to check this out.
Yeah,
hopefully get one. But yeah, I think it's really cool because I feel guilty sometimes. Like we're trying to be EV focused, and I'll admit, like we have a propane grill in the backyard, and it feels a little bit awkward of like, hey, let's get together with our EV friends and then go outside and burn some propane. Yeah, which is not great for the environment. So it'd be cool to somehow switch over everything to electric. We'll get there. But anyways, very cool. Check them out and check out the pizza oven. It looked like it was really interesting, and it's of course smart too. So they were like, you can adjust, like if you tell it what type of dough you're using. And
oh yeah, it's like if you've ever used any of the smart cooking apps, like the Joule, the sous vide stuff, you literally can control it like that. You have to let us know if you're interested in this stuff, because I know we think that that's cool and useful in a way to electrify everything. So let us know.
And the grill was smart too. And I was like, things I didn't really think about, but I'm like, it actually is pretty cool. So like, they were talking about like if you are, cooking on the grill and the phone rings, you can like have it programmed so like it's cooking the chicken and the chicken is done in 5 minutes. Like you run in to get the phone or whatever distraction, and it'll cut off. Which of course it'll still be a heat in there or whatever, but at least it won't be charcoal when you get back to the grill. So it's like some neat stuff like that. And also like as you're preparing, you can have it preheat the grill before you go out with the chicken, so you can like, let me start the grill. So some cool
and you can
stuff.
just like start the grill. You don't have to go like start the grill.
Yeah, exactly.
Along with the smart home stuff, there were a ton of robot vacuums. There were like AI robot vacuums, personally, that's stuff that I really find interesting and cool. Any way that you can automate stuff like that. Some people are not physically able to do this stuff to keep their home clean. So any way that you can automate that is really, really cool. So there was like Dreamy, Roborock, which we have right back there. Eureka. There were a lot. There were a lot of robot vacuums. So that was cool stuff to see. There was this really cool company, Neoplants. Now, I hate that this is extra pertinent right now, the whole idea of air purification. But basically, they have a powder that you mix with water, you pour on your plants, and then it like amplifies the purification process of the plants. I know, this is when Patrick and I were separated. And like,
I'm learning.
They have like graphs and stats and everything, and they have this unit where you can see one working, one not working. I don't know how it works, but I do think that that's really cool. And like, you can have purifiers, air purifiers in your home, but the idea that you could have flowers like that one behind Patrick's head, which I haven't killed yet, and I can pour the powder on it and it could be purifying. So that's pretty cool. There's a ton of tech stuff at CES, by the way. Of course, they're robots, they're TVs, invisible stuff, all sorts of amazing stuff that we want to see as well. What?
I do have one question for you, because this is something they were showing at CES last year and this year. Transparent TVs, and by what I mean is like when it's off, it's sort of like almost like a window, but then when it's on, you can see what's on there. And I'm like, I don't know. Behind our TV is wires and just a boring wall. I don't know. What do you guys think? Just let us know. Unrelated, sort of. We didn't.
I saw your photo of that, so you must have found them somewhere. Like we have an album, and I'm like, oh, what did Patrick find?
I was actually like taking with my phone, and it was like, ooh, you can see my
really?
hand. Yeah.
We'll have to put that up.
It reminds me of like the 3D TVs, which I know some people love, but I was just like, so I got to buy goggles for everybody that's here, and then
I think this could be useful though. I don't know, like maybe turn a window into a TV screen, or you have to let us know if you can think of the perfect application for it, because like obviously we can't, but I feel like if I see the perfect application, I'll be like, whoa, useful. Okay, so a lot of companies reach out before CES. So like, check out our product, blah, 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 blah. A lot of them aren't necessarily applicable or aren't interesting. So this tablet company reached out, and initially I was like, we have no need for a tablet, but it's really cool. I'm sorry, I'm like brandishing it. So it's an e-ink tablet, and part of the cool thing is that it holds battery for forever. So like the battery right now is at 75%, and when we got it home from CES, it was 80%. Haven't charged it or anything. So I've taken tablets on a road trip, like driving in the car and trying to draw or trying to read or do things like that. And the battery really depletes a lot. So this is cool that you have something that's like nice and thin, holds the battery for a long time, and it has a pen so you can draw with it. So this was one of the cool things that I'm just going to sit here and draw it. Carry on.
I was sort of like, I don't need a e-reader, but when I got to play with it while Liv was talking to the sales rep or whatever, it does write really well. It feels very natural. And then it also has a really cool writing to text function. So
you can take notes, convert it to text. You can share it digitally and everything. So it's like a smart paper. And I kind of miss my Kindle. I don't Kindle anymore. So you have the Kindle app and you can use that. So I thought this was cool. And I think this is going to come with on road trips, as in like, I'll just shove it under the seat. And then when I feel like using it, I'll take it out and I don't have to worry about it. As opposed to my iPad, which you're always taking in and charging. And this is a lot cheaper than an iPad. So. And
it runs a version of Android. So you can put some apps on it. You can do like email on it, for example.
And this is a magnetic cover.
Whoa.
Oh, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Things are getting out of hand. We've been talking too long. If you made it this far, please leave a gold star, because you deserve a gold star. Did you get gold stars?
Kyle's was 2 hours long though. He did a wrap up.
Yeah, but
on the
Kyle
floor.
can, like, he's, I don't know.
He
Does
also did an
anyone-
hour-long Pebble video, I think.
Are you still here? If you're still here, please leave a gold star so we know that you're still listening. All right, there were a couple things that were just fun that we saw. Like I said, there were lots and lots of amazing things, but this is just stuff that like we saw that we wanted to share with you guys. Speed DMs, I think that's how you pronounce it. They have this thing, the Gym Monster 2, that's literally like a platform that you can use to do like complete workouts. You can do like pull down weights, you can do bicep curls, you can move it, deadlifts, you can move it up and down, like literally everything. You can bench press with it.
I think there was a bit, if you get the bench.
Oh, if you get the bench. Like an insane amount of flexibility, and it's small and smart and compact and everything. I don't even understand how it functions, but it was really, really cool. And we have like, I literally exercise mats in our dining room area, and it's taking up a lot of room and just stuff lying everywhere. And maybe you guys too, like where do you have space for physical health in your home?
It's interesting because I prefer using free weights versus like a machine and a machine. I don't know. So I like using free weights, and it looks like this simulates free weights even though it's using cables.
Yeah.
So I thought that was what's unique about it. And I should have probably tried it.
I know. I just filmed other people trying it, to be honest. And I was like, I'm not working out at CES. I have to be functional.
It was early in the week, and I'm
Yeah.
I got to save all my energy for
Yeah.
everything. And also, it was like, I don't want to wait around. But
Okay, one final thing. There's a ton of massage chairs at CES. They're like all over. There'll be massage chairs and there'll be people lining up to try them. It's a lot of walking and all that, so I totally understand. We didn't really go into any of the places, but the one brand that stood out was Human Touch, and they're actually not that far from us, but the chairs just look like a really good quality. And when I went and investigated, they're actually like co-designed with chiropractors, so they're like chiropractic level chairs. So it was literally the last 20 minutes. It was like, I don't know, 3:40 or something, and the exhibit ends at 4. And I went and lay down in one, and I literally got the best back cracks, and it was like, oh, it was so good. So my shout out to that. But that is it. That is our catch up of CES, all the way from electric vehicles to massage chairs. How did we get here?
And I know we left stuff out. I calculated, and we were there for like 6-7 days, and we did like 76 hours worth of driving, filming, events, breakfasts. It was exhausting, but so much fun. And a lot of that is thanks to you guys. We didn't have like any sponsorship or anything paid for. We got some free food at a couple of things, but really that's thanks to you guys. You guys helped pay for our charging and hotel stays by literally watching the video. So watch this, share this, watch it again. Like when you finish it up, you get ready to go to bed, hit play, let it play again, and get all the ads. I'm teasing.
Oh, I mean, why not? And I'm not ready to like entirely finish the video just yet, but I will say thank you also to our patrons. So thank you guys for watching all of this stuff. It really does help us and pays for all this. But thank you to our patrons who have been supporting us for so long. Like literally it costs a lot to do this stuff. And we do have full-time day jobs. We went right back to our day jobs. So we took a full week off work at the start of the year, which is like, but it's so amazing to be able to cover this stuff. And we so appreciate you guys and your support, both in interest and in like sharing this whole thing with us, because we want to show you the things that you want to see. We want to see the stuff too. And we wouldn't be able to keep doing it without your support. And so it's really like this copacetic relationship. And I can't tell you how much I'll say we. I appreciate you guys for being on this journey with us. So should we leave now?
Yep, I think that's about it. I got to cough again. So.
On that note, thank you so much for joining us for this video where we wrapped up CES all the way from electric vehicles to gym equipment and massage chairs. Let us know if there's anything we missed. Did you see anything? My tablet's flashing at me. Did you see anything on the news or whatever that we should have looked at or anywhere else? If you have any input, let us know. Share your thoughts down below so other people can enjoy them too. You know what? Let's thank you patrons again. Why not? Thank you so much to our patrons for supporting this channel.
You're editing.
I know we've already decided this like off camera, by the way. A huge thank you to our YouTube members too, who also support us and this channel and make all of this possible. And just remember that whatever you drive, whether it's a massage chair or an EV, because we make no sense now anymore, enjoy the ride and sit.
And cough.
Bye.